Shaheen, in her new role as the two of you lead this committee. It's a really critical one. Secretary Rollins, thank you for being here. Let me be really frank with you. The very mission of USDA is under incredible threat from this administration. We are seeing dedicated researchers and experts who are being pushed out the door. Research safety efforts have been put on hold. Funds that Congress passed have been frozen and canceled by this administration, and nearly $17 billion in investments are now being held up at USDA. That, to me, is really unacceptable and needs to change. We are seeing our food banks with less, increased prices at the grocery store. We are seeing Forest Service personnel who've been fired. They respond to our wildfires. We need them. Experts working on avian flu gone. And my farmers are extremely concerned about these illegal funding freezes and the illegal tariffs that are impacting them. We also know that 15,000 employees have been pushed out. That's more than 15% of your department. We know USDA cannot help farmers or communities without the people and the resources that it needs, which is really, to me, why this arbitrary workforce cuts combined with the sweeping cuts that President Trump proposed in the new budget that we just got is really alarming. Secretary Rollins, let me just say to you, this committee needs a lot more information about how your department is spending this funding that Congress provided earlier this year, and the FY25 spend plan that you submitted last year, required by law, part of the continuing resolution, just isn't satisfactory. We need to have that information in order to write our appropriations bills. And I just want you to know I expect you to work with members on both sides of this aisle to provide the details so we understand how you're spending money and what is actually needed in the coming year. That is why that's what I really want you to know, and why I especially wanted to be here today. But I do have some questions for you. Because in Washington State, my home state, and across the country, these abrupt terminations and resignations of ARS scientists and support staff have really gutted some of our vital agricultural research programs overnight. This is really undermining years of progress. Research on plant diseases, making crops more resilient, extreme weather. That work is really fundamental to our farmers, and they are deeply worried about that being gone. I know that many of the ARS scientists have been reinstated. Essential support staff has not. So will you commit to taking steps to reinstate the ARS support staff and stabilize these research units across the country?
Well, there was a lot in that, Senator, so I'll try to talk really quickly and answer as much as I can, and then please reach out to me directly, and we can always have this conversation anytime. I don't think you were in here, but I've had long conversations with members on both sides of the aisle about all of this in the last couple of months, so I welcome that conversation anytime. The first thing I want to say is the 15,000 number, it is less than 15% of our total workforce. I realize that's still a very, very big number, but I think it's important to realize in the context that every year USDA through attrition loses between 8,000 and 10,000 employees. So as a massive government agency—
But they're refilled.
Well, and that's what we are looking to refill, the frontliners, that's what I was talking about right now. So whether it's FSA, APHIS, the wildland firefighters, those are through a memorandum I just signed. We are actively looking and recruiting to fill those positions that are integral to the efforts and the key front lines. So you let
people go and you're looking for new people to fill the positions that they had experience in?
We're having those discussions right now. We're working with all of you around the country in your states. We believe our firefighters are operationally ready for wildfire season, our FSA offices. We're looking, we're making things more efficient, but bringing on new people that could potentially bring and be a game changer in those offices. But by the way, the people that you're talking about, the 15,000, those were all deferred resignations. None of those people were fired. So if they want to come back and if they were in a key position, then we would love to have that conversation. The other thing, in the second round of DRPs, which just happened about, a couple of weeks ago, we did not accept the DRPs of employees that were in those key positions that I outlined, that a few of them, I think we had several hundred that said, all right, we're going to take it. And we said, no, your role is too important right now. We're not going to accept it. So we are very intentionally approaching this. Have we done it perfectly? No. Any type of whole-scale change and big effort to basically realign an entire government agency is difficult. And we know that, and we know that it hasn't been perfect, but we're working every day to solve for a lot of this, and I think we're making a lot of really good progress.
Okay, well, you didn't answer my question specifically on ARS scientists, research, the support staff.
Well, what I would love if you or your team could get us exactly what you're talking about, who you're talking about, and where you're talking about it, because we've been, like I say, line by line, keeping the staff in place where we believe it's of utmost importance and aligns with the agency's mission. In areas where we don't believe, we haven't been as focused on that. But again, that's a conversation I would so welcome to understand exactly where and what that looks like.
That's important, but this is on record, and so one of my concerns is that you let people go however you want to characterize it, who knew these jobs, and now you're looking for people to fill these jobs because now we know how essential they are. That doesn't seem to me to be very efficient, but I need to ask you about nutrition programs in my last minute here.
Sure.
Because we have about 134,000 people in Washington State, 7 million people nationwide who rely on WIC. It provides, as you know, essential nutrition support to moms and kids during the earliest, most vulnerable stages of life. It is one of the most effective programs that we have. It's always received bipartisan support on this committee. It is glaringly absent from the president's budget request. WIC, SNAP, CSFP, these are really key, important programs for seniors. They're not optional. They're essential programs that feed moms and babies and the elderly. So I wanted to ask you, do you fully support funding WIC, yes or no?
Well, okay, so are you talking about the LFS and LFPA contracts that were canceled, or SNAP?
I'm talking about the budget that came over to us on Friday.
WIC is fully funded. SNAP is, so that's why I'm confused by your question. I'm sorry, Senator.
Well, in our looking at this, it is absent. I'm happy to get the information to you, but this, for this committee, I know it's something we have always supported on a bipartisan basis. It is something we need to continue.
Yeah, WIC is fully funded. I'm happy to talk SNAP or some of the other cuts, but
Yeah, WIC, it is eliminated in the budget that the president sent on Friday.
We also thought that.
we'll clarify that and get that right back to you. I know there have been some realigning in SNAP and in some of the food banks, et cetera. That's kind of where we've been talking and focusing on.
For
But
the committee members, the president sent over his budget on Friday. It does eliminate WIC in it, so we obviously need to have better information from the administration.
That's, our understanding is that, I mean, number one, we fully funded WIC in
Right.
the last go-around in the CR, as you know, Senator. And our understanding is it just, in the skinny budget, it just wasn't included. It's funded for this year.
yeah, it's
But
funded.
this is the skinny budget. There are things we don't have yet. So that at least was our
It's fully
understanding.
funded. You're welcome.
Thank you, Senator Murray.
Thank you, Senator Murray.